Hi students, let's start our new chapter. Chapter 3, Computer Organization. The main concepts you are going to learn in this chapter: basics and characteristics of microprocessors, types of microprocessors, memory devices, secondary storage devices, ports and interfaces. Okay. So first let us see what is computer organization. There are many devices available in computer. What are they? Input, output devices, central processing unit, storage devices, primary memory, and so many hardware devices are available in computer. Computer organization deals with the hardware components of a computer system. So this computer organization is concerned with how the various components of computer system operate. Okay. This computer organization looks similar to the term of computer architecture. So what do you mean by computer architecture? It deals with the engineering consideration involved in designing a computer. So computer architecture deals with the engineering considerations involved in designing a computer. On the other hand, computer organization deals with the hardware components of a computer. Okay. So now let us discuss about computer organization briefly. Okay. First topic is basics of microprocessor. So what do you mean by CPU? Central Processing Unit. We all know that the CPU is the major component of computer which performs all tasks. It is nothing but microprocessor which is an integrated circuit. Okay, integrated circuit. These microprocessors were first introduced in 1970s. The first general purpose microprocessor 4004 was developed by Intel Incorporation. What is microprocessor? This microprocessor is a programmable multi-purpose silicon chip. Okay. It is nothing but programmable multi-purpose silicon chip. It is driven by clock pulses. It accepts input as binary data and after processing it provides the output data as per the instructions. And finally the output will be stored in the memory. Okay. This microprocessor is made up of three main units. The microprocessor having three units. What are they? ALU, arithmetic and logic unit, and control unit, and registers. Register is nothing but internal memory. Okay. So the microprocessor is divided into three parts. What are they? ALU, control unit, registers. Let us discuss them one by one. Okay. What do you mean by ALU? ALU stands for Arithmetic and Logic Unit. It performs arithmetic and logical operations based on computer instructions. Okay. So, Arithmetic and Logic Unit performs arithmetic and logical operations. And what do you mean by control unit? It controls overall operations of a computer. Okay. The control unit controls overall operations of computer through signals. And the next one is register. It is nothing but internal memory. It is used to hold instruction and data for the execution of the processor. So it holds the instructions and data for the execution of the processor. What does it mean? Which means it holds the executable instructions and data of the processor. Okay. And the next topic is characteristics of microprocessor. A microprocessor's performance depends on following characteristics. What are they? Clock speed, instruction set, word size. So microprocessor's performance depends on these three characteristics. What are they? Clock speed, instruction set, word size. So let us discuss them one by one. First let us say about clock speed. What do you mean by clock speed? Every microprocessor has an internal clock. This internal clock regulates the speed at which it executes instructions. So the speed at which the microprocessor executes instructions is called the clock speed. Okay. This clock speed is measured in megahertz or gigahertz. Okay, it is measured in megahertz and gigahertz. So this microprocessor executes the instructions based on clock speed. This clock speed is measured in megahertz or gigahertz. Okay. Next, instruction set. What do you mean by instruction? A command which is given to the computer to perform an operation on data is called an instruction. So whatever command will be given by the user to the computer to perform an operation on data is called instruction. Okay. So basic set of machine level instructions that a microprocessor is designed to execute is called as an instruction set. So set of machine level instructions that is designed on the microprocessor, that is called the instruction set. This instruction set carries out the following type of operations. What are they? Data transfer, arithmetic operations, logical operations, control flow, input and output. So this instruction set depends upon this following type of operations: data transfer, arithmetic operations, logical operations, control flow, input and output. And next, word size. Word size is nothing but the number of bits that can be processed by a processor in a single instruction is called its word size. Okay. In a single instruction, number of bits can be processed by a processor is called word size. Okay. It determines the amount of RAM that can be accessed by a microprocessor. Okay. So it determines the amount of RAM that can be accessed by a microprocessor. Next topic is data communication between CPU and memory. We already discussed about the 3 units of microprocessor. What are the 3 units of microprocessor? Arithmetic and logic unit, control unit and registers. Okay. These 3 units are available within the CPU. Okay. Here registers are divided into many types. What are they? Memory data register, memory address register, program counter and so on. The memory data register keeps the data which is transferred between the memory and the CPU. The program counter is a special register. It is available in the CPU which always keeps the address of next instruction to be executed. So the address of data will be available in program counter register, but arithmetic and logic unit of CPU places the address of memory to be fetched into the memory address register. Okay. So in memory data register, data will be stored, and in memory address register, the address of data will be stored. Okay. What do you mean by bus? A bus is a collection of wires used for communication between the internal components of a computer. So bus is nothing but collection of wires that is used for communication between the internal components of computer. Okay. The word in the RAM has same size as memory data register, which means if the processor is an 8-bit processor like Intel 8085, its memory data register and the word in the RAM both have 8 bits. Okay. So RAM has the same size as memory data register. Okay. Next, the read operation transfers the data from the word to memory data register, and the write operation transfers the data from memory data register to word. Okay. So read and write operations are there. Read operation transfers the data from word to memory data register, and write operation transfers data from memory data register to word. Okay. And next topic is types of microprocessor. The microprocessors can be classified based on the following criteria. There are 2 criteria available. What are they? The width of data that can be processed and the instruction set. So based on these 2 criteria, the microprocessors can be classified. So first let us see about classification of microprocessors based on the data width. Okay. So based on the width of data, the microprocessors are classified into 4 types. What are they? 8-bit microprocessor, 16-bit microprocessor, 32-bit microprocessor, 64-bit microprocessor. Okay. Next, classification of microprocessors based on instruction set. There are two types of microprocessors based on their instruction sets. What are they? Reduced instruction set computers, which means RISC. Complex instruction set computers, which means CISC. Okay. So the example of reduced instruction set computer processors are Pentium 4, Intel P6, AMD K6 and K7. And the example of complex instruction set computers processors are Intel 386 and Intel 486 and Pentium 2 and Pentium 3 and Motorola 68000. So this is about microprocessors. Next topic is memory devices. Okay. What do you mean by memory? Memory is nothing but it's just like a human brain, which means it stores the information. Okay. In our brain we have stored many information. Similarly, in the computer memory we can store many information. Okay. It is used to store data and instructions. Computer memory is a storage space in the computer where data and instructions are stored. Okay. There are two types of accessing methods to access the memory. Two methods are available. What are they? They are sequential access and random access. There are two types of accessing methods are available. What are they? Sequential access and random access. In sequential access, the memory is accessed in an orderly manner from starting to end. Okay, in the sequential order. Okay. But in the random access, the memory can be accessed directly without navigating through previous bytes. Okay. So in the sequential access, memory is accessed in a sequential way, one by one. Okay, from starting to end. But in random access, the memory is directly accessed without navigating through previous bytes. Okay. See this picture. Here different memory devices are arranged according to the capacity, speed and cost. This arrow indicates smaller capacity, faster access time and higher cost. And this arrow indicates larger capacity, slower access time and lower cost. Okay. Now let us discuss all the memory devices one by one. Okay. First let us see about random access memory, which means RAM. RAM stands for random access memory. It is also known as main memory. Okay. In this random access memory, we can store the data and instructions in temporarily. Here the application programs and data in current use are kept temporarily so that they can be accessed by the computer processor. Which means currently using data will be stored in this main memory. Okay. RAM is volatile memory, which means the information stored in it is not permanent. As soon as the power is turned off, whatever data inside the RAM is lost. So when you turn off your computer, the data available in the RAM will be lost because this is temporary memory. Okay. And next let us see about types of RAM. There are two types of RAM. What are they? Dynamic RAM, static RAM, DRAM, SRAM. Dynamic RAM, being a common type, needs to be refreshed frequently, but static RAM needs to be refreshed less often, which makes it faster. When comparing static RAM and dynamic RAM, in dynamic RAM you can store more data, but it has needed more power to store that data. Hence static RAM is more expensive than dynamic RAM. Okay. Next let us see about read-only memory ROM. Read-only memory refers to special memory in a computer with pre-recorded data at manufacturing time which cannot be modified. Which means in this memory the data and programs are pre-recorded at the manufacturing time. You cannot change that data. Once the data has been written onto ROM chip, it cannot be modified or removed and it can be only read. Okay. So once the data has written in the ROM chip, it cannot be modified and cannot be removed, but you can read those data. Okay. This ROM is called as non-volatile memory. RAM is volatile memory, but ROM is non-volatile memory. And this is permanent storage memory. Okay. RAM is temporary storage memory. ROM is permanent storage memory. ROM retains its contents even when the computer is turned off. When you turn off your computer, the contents that are available in ROM chip will not be deleted. Okay. You can store critical programs in ROM chip. Okay. Next, let us see about programmable read-only memory, PROM. It is also non-volatile memory, which means it is a permanent storage memory. Once a program has been written onto a PROM chip, it remains there forever. It retains their contents even when the computer is turned off. The PROM differs from ROM. PROM is manufactured as a blank memory, whereas ROM is programmed during the manufacturing process itself. So this PROM memory is manufactured as a blank memory. So PROM programmer or PROM burner is used to write the data to a PROM chip. Okay. So the process of programming of a PROM is called burning the PROM. Okay. Next, erasable programmable read-only memory, EPROM. It is similar to ROM PROM. It is also called a non-volatile memory. It is permanent storage memory. But the difference is the content can be erased using ultraviolet rays. So once the data has been written onto a ROM chip or PROM chip, it cannot be modified or removed. Okay. But in EPROM memory, you can delete the data by using ultraviolet rays. So it retains its contents until it is exposed to ultraviolet light. The ultraviolet light clears its contents and make it possible to reprogram the memory. Okay. After removing contents, you can reprogram that memory. Okay. So what is the difference between PROM and EPROM? PROM can be written only once and cannot be erased. But in EPROM, you can delete the contents by using ultraviolet light and you can reprogram that memory. It is mainly used in personal computers. And the next memory is electrically erasable programmable read-only memory, EEPROM. It is also non-volatile memory. It is a permanent storage memory. Here the contents will be deleted by electrical charge. It retains its contents even when the power is turned off. When comparing with all other types of ROM, this EEPROM slower in performance. Next, let us see about cache memory. It is very high speed and expensive memory which is used to speed up the memory retrieval process. If cache memory is not available, what will be happen? Every time CPU requests the data, it has to be fetched from the main memory, which will take more time. So to avoid these drawbacks, cache memory is used. This is extremely fast memory. It stores data that is frequently accessed. This helps to achieve fast response time. What do you mean by response time? Response time is nothing but access time, which means it refers how quickly the memory can respond, read and write requests. So this cache memory helps to achieve fast response time. Okay. Next topic is secondary storage devices. If you want to store your data and programs permanently, secondary storage devices are used. The secondary storage memory is also called as backup storage. Okay. There are many secondary storage devices available. What are they? Hard disk, compact disk, digital video disk, flash memory and Blu-ray disk. Let us discuss them one by one. Okay. First, let us see about hard disk. Hard disk is a magnetic disk on which you can store data. This is secondary storage device. This hard disk come with a single or double-sided disk. Okay. Next let us see about compact disk. It is nothing but CD. It is made from 1.2 millimeters thick polycarbonate plastic material. A thin layer of aluminum or gold is applied to the surface. In a CD, data is represented as tiny indentations known as bits. The areas between bits are known as LANs. Here one motor is available. That motor within the CD player rotates a disk. The capacity of ordinary CD-ROM is 700 MB. You can store up to 700 MB files. Okay. And next, digital versatile disk, which means DVD. You can call it as digital video disk. A DVD is an optical disk capable of storing up to 4.7 GB of data. It is more than 6 times what a CD can hold. So CD can hold up to 700 MB of data, but DVD storing up to 4.7 GB of data. In DVDs, you can store movies at better quality. Like CDs, DVDs are read with a laser. The disc can have 1 or 2 layers. Double layered sides are usually gold colored, while single layered sides are usually silver colored like a CD. Okay. Next let us see about flash memory devices. Flash memory is an electronic non-volatile computer storage medium that can be electrically erased and reprogrammed. They are either EEPROM or EPROM. Pen drive. This is the example of flash memory. In this pen drive, you can store the data and you can delete that data electrically and reprogram that pen drive. So it is called as flash memory. Example for flash memories are pen drives, memory cards. Flash memories can be used in personal computers, personal digital assistants, digital audio players, digital cameras and mobile phones. It offers fast access times. The capacity of flash memories vary from 1 gigabyte to 2 terabytes. Okay. Next, Blu-ray disc. Blu-ray disc is a high density optical disc similar to DVD. So this disc is similar to DVD. Blu-ray is the type of disc used for PlayStation games and for playing high definition movies. So in Blu-ray disc you can store HD movies and PlayStation games. A double layer Blu-ray disc can store up to 50 gigabytes of data. Okay. In double layer Blu-ray disc, you can store up to 50 gigabytes of data. DVD uses a red laser to read and write a data. But Blu-ray disc uses a blue-violet laser to write data. So DVD uses red laser to read and write data, but Blu-ray disc uses a blue-violet laser to write the data. Hence it is called as Blu-ray. Okay. And the next topic is ports and interfaces. There are many ports available in the computer. Let us see them one by one. What is the use of serial port? It is used to connect the external devices. It is available on the old computers. Okay. Next, parallel port. It is used to connect printers. It is also available on the old computers. Next, USB ports. It is used to connect external devices like cameras, scanners, mobile phones and external hard disks and printers to the computer. Okay. In USB ports, you can connect the external devices like cameras, scanners, mobile phones, external hard disk and printers. What is the full form of USB? Universal Serial Bus. See this picture. This is the USB connections. Okay. It has many versions: USB 3.0, USB 3.1 and USB 3.2. Here this USB 3.0 can transfer data up to 5 GB per second. Through this USB port, you can connect your mobile with the computer. You can transfer your data from mobile to computer or computer to mobile through this USB port. You can transfer data up to 5 gigabytes per second in this USB 3.2 version. Okay. And next, VGA connector. It is used to connect monitor or any display device like LCD projector. Okay. And next, audio plugs. It is used to connect sound speakers, microphones and headphones. And next, PS.2 port. It is used to connect mouse, keyboard to the PC. And next, SCSI port. It is used to connect hard disk drives and network connectors. Okay. And next, let us see about high definition multimedia interface. HDMI. HDMI stands for High Definition Multimedia Interface. It is an audio-video interface which transfers the uncompressed video and audio data from a video controller to a compatible computer monitor or LCD projector or digital television, etc. So HDMI is nothing but audio-video interface which transfers uncompressed audio or video data from video controller to computer monitor or LCD projector or digital television. Okay. So this is about computer organization. I hope you understand. Thank you, students.